Isn't that sweet? He's confusing me with one of his sons again. Wow, do you think he's flirting with me? What is this?
Donald Trump sat beside the Prime Minister of Japan and made a joke about Pearl Harbor. It was not private or off the record, but said live on television before reporters.
Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars? His opening was that of a less-than-average person trying too hard to be something which he is not and never can be. Get rid of Kimmel and perhaps replace him with another washed-up but cheap ABC talent, George Slopanopoulos.
Some people say Japan understands surprise very well, especially in discussions about history and international relations. During a public event, Donald Trump asked the Japanese Prime Minister why he did not mention Pearl Harbor. This comment referred to a tragic World War II attack that killed 243 Americans. It happened while discussing military cooperation on live television with reporters present. Later, TV host Jimmy Kimmel criticized the moment as inappropriate and widely discussed it. Instead of apologizing, Trump defended his remarks and stood by what he said. The incident sparked public debate about respect for history, diplomacy, and media reactions.
Okay, now, see if you can guess which former president just posted that on Truth. Anyone? No? Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for watching. I'm surprised you're still... Isn't it past your jail time?
This was described as a real estate developer acting like a president. Instead of focusing on peaceful ideas, Trump seemed more interested in military support for a possible conflict involving Iran. During a press event, a Japanese journalist questioned why the United States did not talk with its allies before taking military action. His response shocked the room and created an uncomfortable silence among those present.
I'm not supposed to rely on a big five accounting firm, like one of the biggest accounting firms in the world. I can pay them millions of dollars. I rely on them to do accounting, but I'm supposed to know more than them. By this logic, insurance companies are going to start suing patients for listening to their doctors.
Right. Who understands surprise better than Japan? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Think about that for a moment. Trump compared his decision to begin a war without consulting allies to the Pearl Harbor attack, which killed thousands of Americans and pulled the United States into World War II. He said this to Japan's leader while requesting support. The room fell silent. Translators hesitated, and the Prime Minister looked frozen at that moment.
Posted that his dad is the father of hotel gyms. He said, maybe someone put a gym in a building somewhere, but no one did it at the scale of my father. He's saying that his father, the father of the hotel gym, is a guy who's never stepped inside one.
The moment caused a strong emotional reaction because it was not just a careless joke. Trump appeared to insult both Japan's and America's history, including the 243 Americans who lost their lives during the Pearl Harbor attack. After the comments, protests reportedly broke out in Japan. This happened despite Japan being one of the United States' closest allies for about 80 years. Many people felt the relationship was damaged very quickly, in just seconds, because of an attempt to sound clever. Jimmy Kimmel later questioned Trump's thinking, trying to understand what was going through his mind at that time.
Memoriam montage. He even worked my wife in there. Should I be worried that Trump has mentioned my wife more times at his rallies this year than his own? I also want to point out the Oscars were more than 6 months ago. He's still stewing over this joke. He keeps bringing it up, which I don't mind at all. In fact, I love it. I just wish he would quote it correctly. I didn't say, ha, 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 he thinks he bothers me.
Everything he knows about Pearl Harbor seems to come from a Ben Affleck movie. That is not meant as a joke, but as a criticism of how limited his understanding appears. Instead of studying history or learning about diplomacy, he relies on films and treats them as real knowledge. In his view, Pearl Harbor becomes just a movie reference about a surprise attack, which he then turns into a joke. Many people believe this way of thinking harmed America's relationship with an important ally. At the same time, he was also accused of making false claims about military actions and international conflicts.
I know your cognitive abilities are declining faster than the price of Truth Social stock, so if it helps, I'm happy to send you one of the many products commemorating what I said to you that night at the Academy Awards, so you never forget it again, like this
The claim is that he does not bother to read intelligence briefings, which raises questions about how much he actually knows. It seems strange that one person can act as if he understands more than experienced military leaders, yet appear completely unaware when things go wrong. This is often called the Trump paradox. He presents himself as highly intelligent and claims to know more than generals, but when problems arise, he says he had no knowledge of them. For example, when Israel carried out a large strike with United States coordination, he denied being informed. This creates two uncomfortable possibilities. Either he is not being truthful to avoid responsibility, or he is not fully aware of important military actions. Neither explanation is reassuring. On top of the political issues, there were also major financial consequences. The Defense Department reportedly requested around $200 billion to fund the operation, showing how extremely costly the situation became.
Here's the thing about this feud that nobody in the outrage machine ever learns. Every time Junior posts a furious rebuttal, he reminds millions of people that the joke landed.
They claimed $200 billion, with AB, for a war Trump said was won in the first hour. His reasoning was to keep things tippy-top, a phrase critics compared to a child talking about ice cream rather than serious military planning. Commentators noted that asking for such a huge budget while using simple language sounded unprofessional. Jimmy Kimmel even joked that offering $100 billion for him to step away might be cheaper, framing it as a cost-benefit idea rather than pure comedy. Meanwhile, even some voices on Fox News, usually supportive of Trump, began questioning the wisdom of a long and expensive military conflict. The situation raised doubts about leadership, messaging, and the true cost of the operation. Overall, it sparked wider debate about accountability now. How did this happen so quickly? That is Stephen Miller's way of defending a 20-day war. At the same time, he also asks why it took so long, which shows confusion. This is not just political spin, but clear contradiction happening in real time. The administration seems unsure whether the conflict is moving too fast or too slowly. Even so, they continue to support it, despite reports that some intelligence officials are resigning in protest over the situation. Every crime was being discussed, and even some supporters began to question the war. One of Trump's own intelligence officials, a loyal MAGA appointee, resigned and said Iran was not a threat at all, not even close to having a nuclear weapon. This suggested that the main reason given for the war might not have been true. As a result, even Fox News struggled to defend the situation. While attention stayed on the conflict, Jimmy Kimmel also pointed out another long-standing claim by Trump that had gone unchallenged for years. A legal document from 2009 suggested that Jeffrey Epstein was never officially removed from Mar-a-Lago, although Trump later claimed he had banned him completely. For years, he said he cut ties with Epstein, had nothing to do with him, and even recognized his crimes early on. However, critics say these statements do not match the evidence that has been recorded. Jimmy Kimmel highlighted these contradictions by presenting clips and documents. He also referenced the Pearl Harbor comment, the massive $200 billion budget request, and reports of disagreements within media figures like Tucker Carlson. Kimmel's point was that Trump's own words and actions created the criticism, not the commentary itself. The segment ended by contrasting Trump's version of history with documented records and public reactions.